My, what a peculiar place to have a party.
What up, fellas and ladies?
Welcome to the rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole in the fishbowl right now.
In the fishbowl right now.
This is Joker.
And this is Madfish.
And Madfish just got me to take some mushroom tablets, which they're not psychedelics, but I don't know what the hell they are. What are they?
Well, these are called reishi mushrooms. And according to the label on the bottle, they are a yi sheng, or wild-crafted super tonic for cultivating spiritual energy, modulating immune function, and promoting health, longevity, and a peaceful mind.
So basically these are like podcast performance enhancers.
Yeah, basically. They should outlaw these in the podcast world.
In the podcast world. Wait, no, but seriously, you said it's supposed to make me have crazy dreams?
Well, yeah, it's supposed to basically kind of amp your dreamings. Well, that didn't really make much sense, but amp your dreams. So either amp up.
Has it happened to you?
Yeah, I've had the craziest dreams. So say something, you've got some weird energy stuck in you, or you're stuck in any aspect of your life. Dreaming about it is actually supposed to help you release it.
Yeah.
So it kind of facilitates that.
Do you have any personal examples that you'd be willing to share?
For example, say that there is a girl that's kind of like affecting your energy field, and she keeps on like bothering you with text or something, and every single time.
Are you saying this happens to you?
I'm just saying this happens in general.
Yeah,
it could or could not happen to me.
Common experience.
And so it kind of just like brings you down a little bit every time you get something from her. And that means someone's in your energy field, so maybe you'll have a dream about her. And after that dream, you'll have released whatever emotions you're holding in.
So what was your dream about?
Well,
who was did he come? I've had pretty fucked up dreams before that have had weird interpretations. Sorry, finish yours.
Well, I don't know. So this weird dream I had was actually a dream about hooking up with her sister, which was which is kind of ridiculous. But then I woke up and I felt like a lot lighter, and I wasn't really. It just didn't. Her effect didn't bring me down as much.
Okay, but that could just be a wacky dream about hooking up with her sister randomly.
Yeah, but I've never had that kind of dream before, and then what happened?
So you kind of stuck it to her in the dream.
Kind of, basically.
But that was caused by the mushrooms. And now you feel better about it.
Yeah, and the thing is that I actually then, after that dream, I dreamed about her for a week straight, every single night.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was just like, whoa, like what's going on here?
Dreams are fucked up shit.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in middle school, my parents got divorced and they sent me to a therapist. And I had this really fucked up dream while I was seeing him. I wasn't sleeping there. That sounds fucked up. I had a really fucked up dream when I was at home in my own bed. Okay, so I was in biology. I was in biology class, and in the dream, and my friend fell on his face, and his face fell off. Yeah, it was the scariest. It was one of those things where you're in your dream and your emotions are heightened to a totally new and crazy level.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely terrified, and it really shook me. I woke up in the morning, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then my therapist interpreted it as, he asked me if this person was someone who changed a lot. And they were kind of like that. They were kind of a trickster, jokester. And it was kind of weird. They say that like different archetypes show up in your dreams, and that they all kind of mean something. But he said that it was kind of a sign that I was averse to change, which was something that was going on in my life, that it was something that really shook me up. But it was a pretty crazy. That was one. Do you have dreams that just stick with you?
Oh, totally. I have dreams that are almost like reoccurring sometimes. Like, I mean, other than the effect of dreaming this one girl for 7 days straight, I've had this dream that actually I can no longer tell whether it's it actually happened or not, but it keeps on like reoccurring in my mind, and not just as a dream, just as like a random like thought while daydreaming. And it's about me in Italy back in the day, and we were next to a swimming pool, and all of a sudden my brother was going too far away, and I pick him up to try to bring him back, and he starts crying, and this old, like, wicked lady just, like, starts screaming at me from the street and tells me that she's gonna call the cops and call the police, and then that's just...
This is a reoccurring dream you've
and
today?
it's a reoccurring
What do you think it means?
I have no idea, and I've literally been having this dream since I was probably 3 years old.
My friend told me about a dream that he had where he went around and everyone kept saying that he was sunburnt, but he kept looking in the mirror and he didn't see it. I thought that was super metaphorical I didn't know what it was exactly, but think about the idea that everyone keeps telling you that you're one thing, but you think that you're something else.
That's extremely metaphorical.
My sister told me about this new technology they're coming up with where they can hook things up to your brain, and they do it with different images, but they basically can project what you see onto their computer, right? Mm-hmm. So they're thinking about putting it into your dreams, so you can see your dreams.
That'd be kind of freaky, man.
The thing is, I don't know if dreams necessarily are... You think of dreams as a movie, but I don't think they're in that same format.
Oh, they're...
Files have formats. It's not in the visual, because you just kind of appear and disappear into different places, and there's no real transition.
I don't think it has a direct storyline at all.
It's not. It's a different medium.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that would be like.
That would be weird. It could be freaky, man. Like, I just got chills thinking about the things that could come up.
Yeah, because you wake up in the morning and you remember little bits and pieces of it, and then you try explaining it to someone, and you feel like it's all following a logical path, but then you realize it makes no sense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Like you say, oh, we went to the airport because my computer broke down.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Right? That's what we did. And it's like, wait, that made no sense. Yeah.
And it sounds natural at the time. It's like, oh, yeah, totally. But then you think about it, like, wait, what?
Yeah, dude, it makes no sense.
Have you ever had dreams about sex?
Have I ever had dreams about sex? Well, obviously, yes. Mm-hmm. Why?
I don't know, just wondering, because for some reason, I always have dreams, like, sometimes I have dreams, and it's like, I'll be hooking up with a girl, but I've never actually dreamed of having sex with her. It just, like, my dream stops. Like, never, ever have I had sex with a girl in a dream.
I've had a couple dreams. I don't know when they were. I just remember. Actually, this is I'm going off your topic, but when I was on my meditation course, I had a moment where I was in meditation and I started going through all the landscapes of my dreams, kind of like maps in a video game, because I remember the landscapes very clearly, and I went through my whole lifetime of dreams in different landscapes. I don't know if I kept thinking about if I covered them all, which obviously I didn't, but so much came flooding back to me, and we were talking about this the other day, the idea that your brain, because me and Madfish ran into someone from high school that we hadn't thought about. And I had known him in middle school, but he knew him in high school.
Yeah.
We hadn't thought about him in 5 to 6 years, but we ran into him. Madfish didn't remember who he was, but I did. And I was thinking, for 10 years, that name has sat somewhere in the recesses of my brain, and I've never thought about it before. And it's the same way with your dreams. Those landscapes were in my head.
Exactly.
They're contained in this little space. You think about all the information that we have in our head is contained in this small little space.
Yeah, and it's like we have an almost unlimited memory.
But you just have to tap into it.
Exactly. You just need to know how to. And I feel if you like figure out a consistent way that to tap into it or something, you'd be unleashing a lot more potential from your brain.
Yeah, but the other thing about memories is that you think, oh, well, I'm going to tap into my memories, but are your memories objective? And not objective. They're coming from your viewpoint, making them subjective. But are you remembering everything as it was?
Probably not.
Because, well, I think it's definitely not, because you hear about crime cases and about how no two witnesses remember the same crime the same way. That's some crazy shit.
It's because people remember different details about it.
I think it's also you're kind of remembering what you want to remember. Mm-hmm. I know I came across repressed memories in my meditation course, and I know that a lot of times what I did with my memories is I would go back in time, and depending on my mood, if it was a good mood, I would change the way things went, and I'd think about the future, the time I would be in if those things had changed, and then I'd be all happy about it. But then I also go back in time and just think about all the worst things and how they could have been worse.
Yeah, it's really peculiar what your brain is capable of doing in terms of dreams and memories, and it's kind of like, that's probably why when people say you're only using 2 or 5% of your brain at the time, that's because you just have all this machinery behind it that's capable of doing so much more.
But if you used all of it, it'd be kind of crazy.
Oh yeah,
it'd be consciously you couldn't keep track of all the processes of your brain. That's why you don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wild stuff, and I guess we're gonna find some new loops in our brain after tonight, after ingesting these reshoots.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, dude. The thing is, we were talking about rabbit holes. I was saying, one rabbit hole that I don't recommend going down is just the ingesting of random pills, which I just did. So I don't recommend anytime someone gives you a pill, go, oh, I'm just experimenting. I'm doing the unexpected, and I'm just taking all these pills when you don't know what it is.
Exactly.
Safety is something to be worried about. And this goes into what I wanted to talk about, because after I wrote my post about going after the unexpected, and I said at the end that the most fulfilling thing is the unexpected thing, I thought about it for a long time. And I thought about how I have a lot of comforts in my life. I have various different things that I like going back to. And actually, I think I'm kind of known to my friends, and I think it's kind of a misnomer, but it's kind of true, as someone who likes their comforts. Like on Friday nights, I'm not going out with them, which I don't think is a sign that I'm sticking to my comfort. It sometimes it is, but other times it's just I've been out before, and I know what people do when they're drunk, and it's not that interesting to me.
Yeah.
The conversations you have with people when they're drunk, sometimes people have those really good drunk conversations,
Mm-hmm.
But I was trying to stop saying that. But most of the time, it's the dumbest shit you've ever heard, and it's totally incoherent.
Well, put it this way: how many drunk conversations with some of your best friends that can you remember off the top of your heads now?
Drunk conversations.
Good drunk conversations.
I don't know. I wouldn't. The point is, not all drunk conversations are bad. And what I'm trying to get into when talking about the unexpected is that not all unexpected things are good, and not all comfortable things are bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what the balance is. I was trying to figure that out. What exactly the balance is between and I think it's also really nuanced in that, for me especially, the expected can, you say get out of your comfort zone, but a lot of times the expected can be very uncomfortable. That's already uncomfortable.
Give me an example of that.
Just going to, I don't know, sometimes when I'm at dinner with my family, sometimes we'll start talking about the same kind of shit and gossiping about people, and it's like I know it's going to happen, and it's super uncomfortable.
So to push yourself out of your comfort zone would be to somehow make yourself feel comfortable in that situation.
No, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's hard for words to necessarily substitute experience. But I don't know. I just want to. I was trying to get into the comforts of my life and how they balance out with the unexpected things. And the other thing about going after the unexpected is it also implies a state of expectedness where you're already living in a place where things are expected, and you can easily kind of, for the most part, know what's going to happen.
Yeah, or you're ready to react in case when something does happen.
Yeah, but also you live kind of, it's also a sign of privilege, I think, that like boredom and getting stuck, that's a kind of a privileged point of view, because you have all the different things to feel secure, but you have the time to think about things beyond just your safety.
So
and
you
beyond getting work,
Yeah, so you end up feeling almost insecure because of the time you have to think about it, about certain things.
Yeah, because I remember when I was in an astronomy class in college, and I was listening to the teacher talk about all the money they spent on all this fucking spaceships and all the different voyages and all the different telescopes. And I was thinking, Jesus Christ, why do we spend so much money on this shit? What difference would it make if we knew that this star over there was all this? And some people would say, well, what if in the future we need to go out into space? Okay, maybe a little bit. But I was thinking about where I go to school. There are a lot of homeless people around. I'm thinking about all the money we could use spending money on looking at the fucking stars, and we could just feed people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the teacher after class, and I said, why are we spending I just straight up said to him, why are we spending so much money on all this when
there's all this that we still need to do.
Yeah, when there's all this stuff here in our own country, in our own backyard that we can deal with. And he actually took it pretty well.
Mm-hmm. So he didn't slap you in the face?
No, he took a shot at me the next day in class and asked who in the class took a shot at his job and his livelihood. And I had to raise my hand. It was pretty funny. But he said that one of the signs that you're a wealthy nation is your investments in things that aren't necessarily related to your survival, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so I guess that's one of the things is that because me and you come from privileged backgrounds, we have time to get stuck, to get bored, to get upset with privilege, which can... I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I once heard a quote that I don't know who it was by. Sorry. But they said, I believe in the poverty of the poor and the anxiety of the rich, which saying they're both equally valid things. And I've heard one of my teachers said, pain is pain, mm-hmm. regardless of what it is. And I think they're two very different animals. But I was just thinking that, I guess it goes down to what our audience is and who our audience is.
Yeah.
And I think what we're trying to go after is more college kids, high school kids, maybe people older than that too.
Yeah.
I guess anyone interested in kind of getting out of their daily grind and mm-hmm. looking into new things. But there are a ton of people who, for the unexpected, that means not knowing where your food's coming from, not knowing where if you're gonna get evicted or not.
No, exactly.
And I don't know what that's like at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying that's out there.
Yeah, no, and one thing I gained from actually going around and seeing a bunch of places, I was able to empathize with that a little more. But one thing that I do have to say, and this has come from a point of view of someone who traveled around the world for 4 months. So it's not in an extreme amount of...
semester,
yes. Yeah. It's not in an unbelievable amount of depth, but I definitely...
And you only spent a week in the places.
I only spent a week in the places, but in that week, I definitely immersed myself beyond what any tourist would be like. I definitely just went out of my way to get down and to see.
But you can only do so much in a week.
But exactly, you can only do so much in a week. But from what I noticed, and this is based on first impression of people, so keep that in mind, is that there's a huge difference in just the overall level of happiness of people between urban and rural society.
What did you notice in which countries?
Well, for example, one country that stood out to me more for urban society has been China. China, you walk around the streets and in the cities, everybody just looks completely, absolutely miserable. It's like they don't say hi to you and everyone's minding their own business. They're rude to each other. It's city life. This is a generalization.
I know. Can I say something? Because I want to say this isn't a generalization, but it's funny you mentioned that. I was driving down the street today, mm-hmm. and I saw an Asian family. If you can, I don't know what country they were from. Yeah. Sometimes you can tell if someone looks Vietnamese or Japanese or Chinese. I don't trust myself as much. They look Chinese. I don't know, right? Mm-hmm. But they were all walking separate from each other, and they all looked like they had no expression on their face. And I don't know. I just thought they looked like the saddest people. Or the saddest walk. It was a really nice day, and they're taking mm-hmm. a walk with a baby, and they're all walking separate from each other, and they're all looking at the ground. And I'm just like, oh, dude, that looks awful.
So maybe they're just naturally bred to have a sad facial expression, even though they're happy.
Maybe they were just having blank expressions, and I was. And they say someone, I think it was a Russian filmmaker, did an experiment. Mm-hmm. He showed people images.
Yeah.
Of things that were good and things that were bad and things that were all different types of things that you can interpret. And then he showed them an image of an actor looking at it with a blank face, but it's the same blank face the whole time.
Yeah.
And they all interpreted the emotion that would concern the image.
Yeah.
So they all were like, oh, the actor looks so sad. Uh-huh. Or the actor looks so happy. Or the actor looks so thoughtful. Even though it was the same thing every single time. Yeah, so... maybe I don't know. I don't know what I was doing, but keep going with it.
Yeah, but anyways, and I noticed that in China, and I also noticed that, just walking around, just here even, you see that people in the city tend to have, especially during the daily routine, like, everyone's kind of got a straight face and is minding their own business.
Rushed.
And doesn't really go out of their way to do anything, right? Just straight, da-da-da-da-da. And they kind of look sad a lot of the time. The majority of people, I'd say, around, when you walk around a city, look fairly sad.
Yeah. When I walk... Sorry, I don't want...
No, continue.
Okay. When I walk around the city, when I walk around big crowds of people, and when I'm in airports or something like that, I think about all the people I just don't know, and all the people whose lives I know nothing about, and about how complex and different those are, but I don't have an inkling of a clue what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like no one almost goes out of their way to have a clue about anyone else.
But it'd be hard. I mean, it's if you try to pull over people on the side of the...
Exactly, but see, that's where it's...
Hey man, slow down. I want to know about your life, because I'm really curious. They'd be like, fuck you, get away from me.
But the funny thing is that another place that stood out in the opposite end of the spectrum was Myanmar, or ex-Burma, and it just opened itself up to basically trade with the world. Like, they were completely isolated beforehand, but they're still completely rural society. I mean, still, to get a taxi, it's like an ox with a cart most of the time. They just had recently imported taxis. But the people there, in general, you walk around, everybody goes out of their way to say hello, how are you doing? And everyone's always got a smile on their face. And you can tell that even...
A genuine smile.
You can tell when a smile is definitely genuine and it comes from the heart and people are actually enjoying it and having fun. They just have good vibes. Like, do they have running water? No. Are there toilets a hole in the ground? Yes. But, like, they don't care. Like, they're happy with their land they have and the way they're conducting their life.
Didn't you say that someone in... Was it Japan? You asked them where to go, and they took you all the way there.
Oh yeah, in Japan, Japan is just a different place. I'll just put it that.
Japan's sweet. I was there in 2002.
Japan is cool, and I still think people there in the city look miserable, but they're really, really freaking nice to you if you're like not Japanese. I mean, this lady, like, we asked for directions to these two old ladies sitting there, and they speak no English, and they're pointing us, and then they grab a random young girl from the crowd, and they talk to her in Japanese for a little while, and then they point us her way, and this girl, like, goes 45 minutes out of her way to take us on a train, like, rides the whole train with us. It's probably not the train she's supposed to take, and make sure we get off at the stop.
Who would do that here?
No one. Absolutely no one.
They'd be like, oh, I got homework to do.
Like, I gotta go to work, or...
Well, I mean, if you gotta go to work, you gotta go to work. But you always have to be somewhere, like, exactly. There's always some place to go that you have to go to.
Like, if a random stranger asked you, oh, dude, can you help me get, like, how do I get here?
I give them directions.
You give them directions. You don't take them there.
If I like, kind of knew, I wouldn't even try and figure it out, probably. So, like, I don't know, that's that guy.
Yeah.
But getting into, I think sometimes the tone of, I don't think you're doing this at all, but sometimes the tone of looking at lesser developed countries or lesser privileged countries, and you're talking about how nice they are, sometimes that gets into kind of patronizing talk. You know,
kind of like that happy poor idealization.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know, I forget what I was going to say about it, but that can happen.
Yeah, it can definitely happen, and I definitely think there's instances of poverty where it's horrible. Like, there's poverty I saw in India, and there's poverty I saw in Ghana, that there's certain types, especially the one that's in the city, once again, like the slums and the city people there, it's just like you can tell that it's a huge struggle for them. Whereas people...
What did you see?
Well, in India, basically, like, it's a very interesting mix of...
I've always wanted to go there.
It's just a different place once again, but then you have these huge slums of people that live in, like, shacks made of cardboard and tin, and they've got, like, families of 8 in there.
And then they shit in the water?
And, I mean, they shit everywhere, man. Like, I was walking on the beach, and there was...
I mean, we would shit everywhere, too. If we didn't have toilets, you gotta shit.
Exactly. You have to shit. And there's just not the facilities that can take care of that kind of stuff there. And so there's just people that you can tell that it's just a huge struggle for them. But even in India, then, you travel a little further out into, like, the country, and those people...
You're talking about urban and rural.
Yeah, urban and rural. And those people, in terms of material things and possessions, might have the equivalent of what some people in the slum of the city have, but they're a lot happier. Maybe that's because...
What do you mean happier, though?
They seem... like they're relaxing, they're not struggling through life. They're kind of going along with it.
Well, they have struggles. They definitely have problems.
They definitely have struggles.
Everyone's got problems, but what, I don't know, do you have an example or an instance where you really, sometimes you don't, it doesn't even have to be a big thing, but it just strikes you how calm some people are, so how happy they are, and you just think, I want to know what that's all about. So do you have
an instance of that is actually from when I was in Myanmar, and we were walking by this village, and I mean this is a village in the middle of the mountains somewhere where there's a dirt path, there's a road there that no cars can go up, and people there live in poorly constructed houses. And so at first we were just all like, oh my god, like these people must be so sad, like what can we do to like help them? And then we walk around and we're greeted by like 4 people in the village who just like come up to us and like start laughing and like cracking jokes and then like start dancing, and there's like a little baby that runs out and like high fives us and it's like
high-fiving baby. That's
well, yeah,
awesome.
It's like super curious, and then you can see like the mothers of the children are laughing and like in just a good spirit. They have a really good sense of community over there, and I think that's a crucial thing.
Yeah, community's hard to come by around here. You get it on sports teams, I think.
You definitely do.
That's a big thing. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I feel like all the time, especially at school, you're kind of focused on your own thing. You're always thinking. I think most of my days. I was thinking about this today while I was doing, or I was doing the laundry, and I was thinking, everything I think about and everything I'm thinking about doing is totally geared towards me.
And doesn't that kind of make you? Adds a little shallowness to it.
I
Makes you
know.
a little miserable.
Well, actually, I mean that did fuel me to. This is just a small thing. I'm not trying to. It fueled me to take my dad's laundry out and fold it for him.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I did it, and then I thought, wow, I don't do this that much. And it is weird that you just every little moment is geared towards what am I going to do next for me.
Yeah. And that's, I think, a big thing with Western society, capitalist society, because that's kind of the whole way our whole economy is based off. It's like, I do something, like, you have to make it out there on your own. It's survival of the fittest. So we're even in school today, you view yourself almost more in competition with a student that's sitting next to you because of the way tests are curved or graded, rather than him being a fellow student, part of your community. I've noticed that a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me. I think I agree that we are a society founded on competition and looking out for yourself, but I take a lot of personal responsibility for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really the only way for things to change in any capacity at all is when. I'm not saying I'm the one changing everything or changing myself because it's really hard to do, but to take personal responsibility for it and not to think that, if I just do this one little thing, then nothing's going to change. Because everything changes by one little thing.
I've noticed it, like, doing that one little thing, like, in the end also makes you yourself happier.
Yeah, you feel pretty good. And not in a self-righteous kind of way.
Yeah, you just kind of get this good feeling. It's like, I made someone's day today.
Yeah, or even just that you did the right thing, not that there's a universal right thing, but what you felt was the right thing to do.
And you can definitely feel the difference, just like in the way it feels inside of you.
Yeah, and getting back to the individual things, I've had conversations with people about this. They were talking about what's this show where they dress up little girls. Oh my God, what's it called? And one of the girls, it's beauty pageants for little children.
That sounds cruel.
It's a reality show. Yes, it is. And it's gonna kill me that I don't know. I know the name of the girl. There's one, Boo Boo. I don't even know what her name is. But regardless, I was talking to someone who watches the show all the time, and we talked about structural violence, the idea that you, by the structure of your lives, you are an accomplice in bad things that happen. Mm-hmm. And I think if you watch, you think about things like a lot of people despise Fox News, and they think, oh, Fox News should be taken off the air. Or like I think this show should be taken off the air, but people need to stop watching these shows.
Exactly,
because that's what happens, and that's why these people are on TV. That's why they're putting their children out there at a really young age, and dressing them up in makeup and teaching them that all that matters about themselves is their appearance.
It's because people watch.
Yeah, because people watch, and it takes the little things, and it sucks to kind of realize, especially take something like, did I talk about this in the first episode? Porn. Every time you watch porn, if you watch a really abusive form of porn, most porn is abusive. Mm-hmm. Most porn, the girls are getting a really raw end of the deal. Okay.
Yeah. Even though the statistics looked up, girl porn actresses earn a lot more than guy porn actors.
Oh, I'm sure they do. They're more important. Mm-hmm. The name doesn't really matter because I think most of the no dude's gonna go, oh, I want to go watch Peter.
Yeah.
I love Peter. So. But I've actually, they're not all porn is bad. I don't know if I said this in the first episode. Fuck it.
Anyways, yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to stop listening.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in one of my classes, we studied porn. It was one of the units. And actually, female, I think porn stars only work 3 days out of the month, and they get paid pretty well.
Yeah.
And there was one porn director who wanted to do a video or a film on teaching people how to have good anal sex and safe anal sex, and
noble deed.
Yeah, and she also she directed a porn film where she took 6 guys and 6 girls or something like that, and all the porn stars apparently have a list of all the other porn stars that they like working with or that they want to work with. And then they have a definite no list that they don't want to work with. Mm-hmm. So she took their lists and she made it so that she found the 6 guys and 6 girls that would match together, and then she put them in a house and she just put them in the film crew, and they could do whatever they wanted. And so that's a form of good porn. What I'm saying that most porn is bad. So every time, listeners, you go jerk off or to go watch porn and you're watching something that is. You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell when someone's getting the raw end of the deal. You are an accomplice. It's not just that it's out there. Mm-hmm. It's out there because you're out there.
Exactly.
And it's not. I don't think. Do you think it's a chicken and the egg thing? I don't know if it is.
Well,
they're kind of meeting it. They're meeting a demand. You don't create.
Yeah. They're definitely meeting a demand. I mean, the only reason why there's abusive porn of hey, I'm gonna have sex with
no specifics.
No specifics. But the only reason why there's some very crude porn out there is that people watch it. They wouldn't put it out there unless people have to be watching it, otherwise it wouldn't be out there. That's just it. That's the same thing with everything really. It's the same thing with tuna. Tuna wouldn't be in the supermarkets if people didn't. Okay, wait.
Talk about the tuna issue because I've watched. I think it's a documentary on Lake Victoria.
Lake Victoria has
is it perch?
Yes.
Nile perch.
Yes, exactly.
Is that the perch are getting overfished, or do they come in there an invasive species?
Okay, well, basically, Lake Victoria is one of the examples of how an introduced species can have total environmental and whatsoever degradation for a region. What happened was that originally Lake Victoria was a pristine environment, both the shoreline and the lake itself, and they had these fish that are called cichlids that live in there, and they have a huge, extreme biodiversity. So there's a lot of little different types of subspecies and species of this fish.
Goddamn, you know a lot about this shit.
Yeah.
You know how I just watched the documentary. You know the little biological facts. I love it. I'm going to pretend I know what cichlids are, but you can keep going.
Little yellow fish that you can go to your local Petco and ask them for cichlid. Exactly.
Or is that just a fancy term for goldfish?
No. It's an actual cichlid.
Okay, keep going.
And then I think it was a British guy, it's some European guy, had the brilliant idea. It's like, oh, hey, you know, like Nile perch, like you can't really eat these cichlids. And Nile perch is a great.
Would you say it's a Russian guy?
I
Or
don't
an
know.
English guy?
I'm not sure.
It's Russian pilots who fly in now to get it. Just keep going.
Yeah,
I'll tell
it's
what
some
I know
sort of
about
European guys that fucked
Okay.
it up.
Yeah.
And so they introduced a new species, which is the Nile perch, which is a fish that can grow to like over 6 feet long and 300 pounds,
Big
and
fish,
is a
yeah.
very big predator. So what ended up happening is, firstly, the biodiversity of the species in the lake decreased by 90%. So there's only 10% of the different types of species of fish as there were originally. And furthermore, since there isn't that much food and it's not their natural environment, the average size of the Nile perch has greatly decreased. So they're not even that great of a food crop. And in addition to that, what happened is that all the local people are like, oh shit, like brand new industry, like Nile perch. So what they did is they caught a bunch of perch, and in the process of like firing them and smoking them and cooking them, they ended up completely having extreme amounts of deforestation on all of the sides of the lake because of also like the development near it.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, do you have more to go?
Well, and so basically what happened in summary is you devastated the lake ecosystem and you devastated the surrounding ecosystem and did not create anything sustainable for the local people.
Okay, but so I watched a documentary on this about the export of it and the import, which is pretty nasty. So it's more. Some people think, oh, it's just we're losing trees, whatever. But the effect on the people has been the worst. It has been there's a documentary where this guy goes in with a handheld camera and he interviews the Russian pilots that are flying in empty planes, in quotations, empty planes, and they're flying out the Nile perch. So they fly in planes loaded with weapons that they sell to militias in the area who go fight in the Congo. I think it's in the Congo where they bring the guns to. So they bring in guns, and then they take out perch. But while they're there, they get prostitutes. And in I think this happens in other parts of the world, and this is really fucked up because this guy's interviewing these prostitutes and he's talking about the different, the Russian pilots, and they're having a good time boozing up, and all the prostitutes are acting like they're really interested. And for a certain price, you can pay to get a prostitute and kill them. And that's what happened to one of the girls. Is that he was interviewing her, and then later she's just not in the documentary, and they're interviewing her friend, and she said, yeah, she got stabbed in the heart by one of these. And yeah, it's fucked up. And they also interviewed a Russian pilot who he got way too drunk, and he was feeling really guilty about. They were talking about the guns because it's under the table, the guns thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of times they don't want to admit it, and they weren't admitting it before, but he got drunk, and he said, for Christmas, Russian kids get grapes, and for Christmas, African kids get guns.
Wow. Like,
yeah.
And so there you have, for those of you that kind of think that the environment is bullshit and that the introduction of species won't really do anything, this is an example of an introduction of an invasive species that
it was a long time ago too.
Yeah, that actually affects every single grain of society.
You introduce something and you don't know what the effects are. If you're just going after profits, you could face some serious consequences. Like, I want some spiritual advancement, so I take these reishi mushroom tablets and something bad happens to me. You know, but that's much lower scale. But watch this documentary. I don't know what it's called, but
Great viewer advice.
No. I will look it up and I'll put it in the description of the podcast because it was something one of my teachers showed me in school, and he was the best teacher. He showed me so many different things. He showed the whole class this, but it was just something you just walk out of and your head's down for the whole day, and you can't believe that happens. And also I think it was in the same village, kids are huffing gas and stuff. Out of spray cans. I don't know exactly how it works, but they're basically just abandoned youth because there's also AIDS problems in the area too. And we're gonna keep meandering.
Here's a viewer advice. First of all, therefore, don't buy Lake Victoria Nile perch for human consumption.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that that are basically blood, whatever the product is. You're talking about blood diamonds, blood iPhones, Colton.
Mm-hmm.
They're fighting in the Congo. They have child soldiers fighting over the Colton mines so that you can send your dumb little ass text to all your little friends, you know, and so that everyone can reach each other instantaneously. That's the price of that. There's tuna in Japan, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is it off the coast of Japan? All the tuna that you get in all in your quick sushis, that's all overfished tuna.
Well, the funny thing with Japan is that Japan actually overfished all of their tuna, so they're flying in tuna from other parts of the world to meet the demand. Like, they're flying in tuna from Spain, and especially from other countries that have like unsustainable fishing practices, so they're only propagating the problem.
Yeah. Where does it end, dude? What do we? What? That sounds like so many problems. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of my phone. I'm gonna stop driving because people in the
Can't
night
eat
Delta
tuna.
are dying. I'm gonna stop. Yeah, you can go without tuna.
I'm on a tuna-free diet, by the way.
And is someone? The other question is someone who you see chatting away on their phone, which is everyone. Are they? They're not a bad person, you know. They're not a bad person.
Yeah.
What? How do you take that?
Like, how many people do you think that are chatting away on their phone actually know about this?
And oh god, there's so many things. And the other thing is, I just watched a documentary. I just read some papers.
Uh-huh.
How do I know about all that?
And you're still using your phone, aren't you?
Oh, well, I just cracked my phone.
You did?
I dropped it. I went into so this is a veteran move for all those people out there. You have to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Just go into a hotel like you own the place, like you have a room there, and then just go to the bathroom in the lobby. It's a sweet move, but that's what happened to me. I went into a hotel to go to the bathroom, and I pulled my phone out of my pocket, and it dropped onto the floor.
Ah, screen down.
And I cracked. Yes, and it was screened down. And I've done that a lot, and I don't have a protection.
It's always that little moment of faith.
I don't
you
have
have to turn it around.
I don't have a protection case, and it dropped, and I go, oh, that's the one. I said it out loud. I go, that's the one. And I looked at it. I wasn't even surprised. It was funny. I wasn't actually mad. I wasn't mad. I was like, oh, it still works. But they say, I've had that happen before. They say that that means that it's not going to work. Eventually, in about a couple weeks or so, it's just going to stop working.
Really?
So, yeah, but I didn't, it was funny. I didn't care at all.
You can replace your screen for like $10.
No, it's more than that, I think.
If you buy the screen separately and you do it yourself.
Is it hard?
No, not
Do you
that
know how to
hard.
do it?
My brother knows how to do it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. There's some really bootleg ways to view. The crazy thing about the internet is if you don't know how to do something, you just look up how to do that thing, and it always shows up. And then you see other weird ass searches that people put in. But I remember once my Xbox 360 started flashing red lights, and someone said to wrap a towel around it for 15 minutes and turn it on until the red lights come on again, and then take it off, let it sit for 30 seconds, and then turn it back on, and it'll start working. And it worked. But it actually was pretty unstable because it broke down again. Yeah. But there are so many things that you don't need to. You just need to look up on the internet, how or something. Mm-hmm. Have you ever done that before?
Yeah, totally, 100% of the time. It's like that's how I learned how the internal combustion engine worked. I was like, how does the internal combustion engine work? And freaking looked it up. It's perfect.
I popped a tire. I was driving my mom's car and I popped a tire, and I was really determined to fix. There was a spare. Yeah. And I was really determined to do it all by myself, even though I'd never done it before. Mm-hmm. And so I sat there for an hour, and I was trying to get one of the lug nuts off. Yeah. You know, but I couldn't get it off, and I was pulling really hard. I was like, it's not that I'm not strong enough to do this. Something's wrong. So I gave in a little bit. I looked on eHow, and apparently, for all people out there, there's a special lug nut that you have to do first. That the wrench that you have to unlock it first, so that the other ones will unlock.
Oh really?
Yeah. So, and I never would have figured that out. And it was in the glove. The wrench for it was in the glove box.
Did you not read the instructional manual?
No, I didn't read the instructional manual. So I went in there and I did it, and then I ended up fixing it, which was pretty cool. It sounds like a small thing, and this gets back to what I was talking about with what is your comfort zone, and how it's. I think it's kind of relative. Yeah. Because just changing a tire for me, it's something a lot of people have probably done a million times. That was a challenge for me. That was a new thing for me to do, And just because a lot of other people can do it and it's a pretty simple thing doesn't mean that it's not important or it's not beneficial to me. It's not I'm getting just to where their level is. That really doing it, I actually felt very
accomplished.
I not accomplished. It wasn't like a feather in my cap or anything, but it felt really good. And I knew that from now on, it's one of those things. It's kind of like riding a bike. Is that I've never had to do it again before, but I know that if I had to do it again before, I would know exactly what to do.
Yeah, and I mean, you took a huge step by just not calling AAA.
Yeah.
And
I called my mom, and I didn't ask her how to do it, but she wanted me to call AAA.
Oh yeah, that's why you just.
She thought I was going to hurt myself doing it. No, it's not very hard.
No, it's not very hard to change tires at all. I mean, that's kind of when I got started first working at the cars a bit, because I have this old Alfa Romeo that I've been working on, and I don't do the like major stuff like transmission and stuff like that, but I'll definitely like rework everything. And so one time the trunk broke, like I could no longer open the trunk, and I had stuff I needed in there. So yeah, I just looked up on the internet how to do it. And what I ended up doing is, because I didn't want to buy these expensive like replica spare parts, I just tied a shoelace string to like the correct latch, and so I could just.
Did the internet tell you to do this, or did you do it yourself?
It's kind of both. Like
okay.
The internet kind of told me some stuff, and I'm like,
see, that's the beautiful thing.
If I tie a shoestring there, I can just boom open it.
This may seem like a really small example, but it's a beautiful thing of looking up something and having it be a springboard to other things.
Exactly, because that's, I guess, one of the huge advantages of the internet. It kind of allows for for a constant. It's a huge opportunity for a community. You know, like how we were talking about community a little earlier, and how we're kind of almost lacking about it. Well, this is a huge opportunity where
not that everything on there is true.
No, not that. Of course, like 90% of the shit there is bullshit.
Yeah,
that's actually on the internet. I don't know numbers, but it's some very high percentage.
It can give you. I was in Siddhartha. They say the guy says, "I can give you knowledge, but I can't give you wisdom."
Yeah,
it's like that. The internet can give you knowledge, but you have to take it out into the world and gain your own wisdom for it.
Exactly. But then upon that, you can build upon it. It's like it's much easier, and so it's almost kind of like a gateway for our society to progress more. Like
things we haven't done are they're intimidating. Here's a small example. I ran into my friend's dad today, and I was talking to him about his work. And I think when you're growing up, you think that the things they do at work are really complicated, and you could have no chance of doing it. Or like when you're in third grade, you think, "Oh, high school must be so hard," and then you get to high school, and it's not that hard. It's just high school. And then you get into college, and you were thinking, "Oh, college is gonna be so hard." And it's just college. Yeah. And I think it's the same thing. You'll go to work someday, and you'd be like, "Oh, it's just work." Yeah, we make the world out of so many different things, and people too. You ever have people when you were growing up, you think the world of them. I think everyone does this with their parents. Idealize parents or idealize older siblings, and you think that the world they live in is so cool. Yeah. And then you get there and you just go, "What the fuck? This doesn't take that much to be functioning in this." Yeah, yeah. And people aren't. You realize that those people also weren't perfect when they were around at that time too.
No, one thing I've had is like for some reason I've always found it hard to conceptualize. Like if you watch like a random like kind of stupid commercial on the television, and you stop there and think about it,
commercials,
and then you're like, God, like I wonder like how they go around and like building that, and like it's hard to picture like a committee of people sitting around a table, and like deciding to do this particular commercial. It like, and then you reach a certain point in your life where you can actually connect it to. It's like, oh, this is actually how shit gets done.
Yeah, and then you realize the complexity of it, but also, I mean, it's not easy to make good ads and good commercials. No. Those take some serious. You have to really think about what people. I don't know much about it, but in terms of what seduces people, what kind of thinking seduces people into buying things. Like, I think everything's kind of founded on is that you're missing something.
Yeah.
You're missing. You need this. You need. We were talking about not being able to create demand earlier a little bit.
Yeah.
But there was a situation in. I got told this story in class, but I hear it's in economic textbooks too because I was talking to someone who's doing business at school, and they said that they learned this example too. But there was a Dutch company.
Dutch.
Yeah, we ragged on Shell Oil the other day. Actually, we didn't post that one, so I can go into that another time. But there was a Dutch company. Maybe it was Nestle's not Dutch, is it? It might have been Nestle. I don't know what company it was, but they did baby formula.
Uh-huh.
And they started advertising with these pictures of these Dutch children, these blonde-haired, blue-eyed, happy Dutch children drinking these children's drinks, baby formula, and they were all happy. And they started doing it in rural Thailand. I think it was rural Thailand, where if you think about baby formula, basically, I don't know much about baby nutrition, but they live for a long time without baby formula.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary because you have breast milk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Breast milk is natural. The breast milk comes just from you. Breast milk is free.
Yes.
But they started advertising this baby formula and creating a demand in a place that they didn't need any of that stuff. They didn't need to spend any money on it, and people started buying it.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable what like good advertising can do, or like not even good, just like effective advertising.
It's because and everyone should read this book. It's an interesting book if you want to learn about the effects of television. It's called 4 Arguments for the Elimination of Television.
Mm-hmm.
It's by a guy named Jerry Mander, which is, like the word, but not with the G, with a J. And he talks about how when you are watching TV, you're in a very receptive state. Your brain is super open to suggestions. So when you hear ads and stuff, a lot of people say, I've had this argument with people all the time. I talk about how ads are really effective on people, and they go, well, I don't watch TV and then like think about how I'm gonna buy that thing the next day. It's like obviously it doesn't work consciously, but think about how much money they spend on Super Bowl ads, how much money they spend on advertising all the time. Obviously it works, and that's the trick. It's just to make you think that you don't really care.
Exactly.
But watch someone when in a public place when TV's on. Even if there's no sound, a lot of times in public places when there's a TV, there's no sound. When there's no sound and you can't hear what's going on, people are watching the TV. All their eyes are drawn to it, and it's hard to do it yourself. You're looking at, what are they all looking at? And then you get stuck looking at it, and it's not even playing a program.
Yeah,
it's playing advertising, and people are just watching. It's hard to draw your eyes away from the screen.
Yeah, it's an extremely effective way of conveying a message.
Yeah, images. He talks about the inherent believability of images is that as we've evolved, our state is to, when we see something, this might seem really obvious, we see something, we believe that it's there. And so when you introduce this technology, and evolution obviously is moving much slower than our technological pace.
Ages slower.
So you watch something on TV and you believe it. And just inherently, because that's how you're you're programmed to act.
You're wired to do that.
There are interviews with people who talk about how they would look to television to decide to figure out their own real life situations. And they'll look to characters in shows and think like, what would that person do? And they model themselves off people. Yeah.
So that's kind of extreme. It's also a scary thought.
It's scary.
And once again, I feel like not many people realize that. Since, like you said, your friends are just like, no, like this is crap. Like I don't get affected by shit, but it
teaches you how to act, like what the norms are in your culture.
Exactly, and it's one of like I was also reading this crazy book that's called like 1001 Inventions That Changed the World. Just think about that, like. How many little things, like, because television, like, technologically speaking, it's a fairly simple thing, like, compared to, I don't know, sending something, like, a spaceship to the moon. It's a lot more simple to create a television.
Yeah.
But a television kind of is way more important in, like, the scope of, like, humanity evolving than sending someone to the moon.
Yeah, what he says at the end of the book, in his, is it the epilogue at the end?
Yeah,
the epilogue. He says a lot of people knew he was writing the book, and he'd go to dinner parties, and people would say, okay, like, we get the idea television is bad. I think a lot of people would I mean, not that television is bad, but that television can be detrimental, and that, for the most part, we probably be, I mean, it's a form of escape, But people recognize the flaws in television. They go, okay, yeah, we get that.
Mm-hmm.
We get all those different things. I agree with you. But do you really think you can get rid of television? That you can eliminate television?
At this point, it'd be impossible.
And his response was, the fact that you can't even imagine a society without television shows how much you depend on it and how big of an effect it has on us.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that a crazy thought that we can't even get rid of something that might be detrimental to us because we're so addicted to it?
Just for a second, think about a society. Just think about putting everyone in our society, taking away.
What's our society? We're talking about the
just
U.S.?
just today, like in the U.S., like every day, taking away television, taking away mobile phones.
Mobile phones. I haven't heard anyone use that term. I like that. Mobile. Yeah, taking away
Just
phones.
imagine how much the world would change by simply removing those two things.
The world,
or just us.
but if it was just us, well, think about the flaw. Our economy would go in the shitter if we lost cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are. Are you talking about iPads too? Do we lose iPads?
Yeah, just any sort of any mobile.
I'm really getting into
technology.
the logistics of this.
Yeah. You lose basically the way of instantaneously communicate. The fastest way of communication is email, which is still pretty fucking fast.
But you have to be at a computer.
Exactly. You have to go out of your way to sit down and.
What do I think would happen? It just wouldn't happen. I don't know. We would fall behind in our economic.
But don't think about it you can think about it as an effect it would have on people. Just ignore the economy for a second.
I don't know. There'd be withdrawal.
Once we get past the withdrawal, don't you just feel like
I don't know. I take
life
things,
would
I
be
take
more
things
real?
super literally. I can't. It's hard for me to take to think about this. My friend, some people would ask me, the common question, what if you could have one superpower, what would it be? And I was like, I'd have teleportation. And immediately my mind goes, you'd be killed in a second. You couldn't, because you couldn't tell anyone. You couldn't tell anyone because if you told someone, then everyone would know, and then it'd be like the movie Jumper, where people are coming after you because you can't be God. Some people would be religious. Mm-hmm. The government would come after you. They want you to study you. Yeah. And then some wacko would kill you.
Exactly.
It would definitely kill you. So, okay. So
or trap you and use you for his own personal gain.
Yeah, well, you could teleport away. But the thing is that you couldn't tell anyone. Uh-huh. Right? So we're taking that off the table now. We're taking off that you can teleport, but you can't tell anyone. Well, that'd be a super lonely life. Because you wouldn't be able to relate to anyone. You wouldn't be able to take anyone along. You might make the mistake, you meet a girl, you go, oh, this is the girl of my dreams, and then you take her somewhere, and then you end up breaking up with her, and she just hold it over your head forever. She'd probably tell someone. She'd get drunk and tell someone, and then you'd be fucked. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to teleport. I'm just making an example of how I take things, takes these hypotheticals.
So what superpower would you have?
Teleportation would be really nice, but if you think about it, if that ever happened in real life, it'd be a total clusterfuck. If people could teleport.
I mean, have you seen any superhero movies?
What?
All people with superpowers end up in some sort of giant clusterfuck at some point or another.
No, I just think most people would not abuse teleportation. Mm-hmm. Some people would, and they would think about the terrorist opportunities.
Yeah, that would not be good. And
how do you regulate it? Is it through a system of portals where you go through TSA first and then you're out of there? Is that how it works? So how do we?
It would have to become an honesty-based system because you have no way of regulating.
Honesty-based system, dude. I heard someone talking about this today about how take teleportation off the table. Just the advancements in technology that we've made, all the power that we've gained. Mm-hmm. Of manipulating our own world into whatever we want it to be. And that seems to be the trend. It's going to keep going exponentially faster. That's great. And that affords us so much. But you can't have all the great benefits of it without all the bad things. And as you get more powerful and you use it for good things, there are going to be a lot of people who use it for bad things too. Yeah. So you kind of...
And what's good and bad often gets mixed in together.
It's scary. So you're advancing towards ultimate power, but also
ultimate villains.
Towards the end of people who could end the world, mm-hmm. And that's not
that's with nuclear weapons.
Yeah, and the world, send it into a totally new age and totally shake everything up in a second.
Yeah, well, that's quite a bit of a heavy note. To end on almost. Should we end on a bit of a lighter note?
Yeah, no, I think you get into all the big things, and I think those can really distract you from what you can control in your own little moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all you can do is what you can do at that very moment, and that wherever you are, folding your dad's laundry or doing anything little like that. And you can't really think. I don't know. You can't. If those things inspire you to go somewhere, then go to that one place and help someone out.
Yeah.
But you can only do so much.
Yeah.
And you gotta have fun too.
Exactly. Don't just fucking like burden all of the world's problem on yourself, or you're just gonna be miserable because there's so many fucking problems in the world.
Yeah. And there are some things to be helpful about. Like I heard that in the history of the world, of the human species, now is the time when we kill each other the least.
Mm-hmm. So there's a good thing.
And now we're in the fewest wars we've ever been in.
Uh-huh.
That's a good thing too. And if you think about all the problems that we have around the world, you know about them. You have an inkling of them. A lot of them get swept under the rug, and a lot of times there's misinformation around them, but you can figure it out. So, I don't know. I just say, it's not that focusing on yourself is like a terrible thing, but it's definitely helpful. I don't know.
Take a little step to just do something for someone else around you. Like even if it's like making your mom breakfast one morning, even though she makes it for you every single morning, and just see how it feels.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Let's try that. And live in your own world.
Live in your own world. Yeah.
I don't know, just do whatever.
I don't know. Or just... Yeah. Yeah. Dude, getting into the unexpected thing, what I kind of came down with is just... It's just different for everyone. And you should, like, take what you hear, take all the knowledge that you hear, and turn it into your own wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone kind of has a different lot in life. Not there's a myth out there that everyone can do anything. You know, like the American dream. That's not true.
No.
That's not true. No, because some people, they can't go to the NBA. That's how one of my teachers phrased it. And you could see that, and you wouldn't take it personally. But some people take you could tell someone you're not gonna be president. You're not gonna be one of the richest people in the world. You're not gonna do this. You're not gonna do that. That's gonna be true. Yeah. And if you say the NBA, then people take it. Oh, it's just my athleticism. But that goes into everything. Mm-hmm. So I think just finding your own lot in life and figuring out what that is, what your little niche is.
Yeah, and I guess just don't be just push yourself a little bit to go beyond what you find normal, and just push a little bit your comfort. You don't have to like completely obliterate it, but do something like, yeah, you know what? Today I'm gonna change my tire for the first time on my car. Like little things like that. You'll just be surprised at how much of a positive influence it'll have on you.
Or it will have a negative influence, and then you'll know not to do that thing again. So if I have crazy ass dreams tonight that I don't like, and I wake up with night sweats or something like that, then I won't do that again. But if it goes well, then I'll do it again. So let's see. Oh, hell yeah.
Yep.
Good session.
Very good session. This was the second episode of The Rabbit Hole.
The Rabbit Hole in the fishbowl.
Mm-hmm.
Joker here.
And this is Madfish. Have a good night.
We're going to bed. Peace.
Curiosity often leads to trouble.